Happy Thanksgiving to our viewers in the States. I have a question for you. Are Titans or Hunters better at wielding the big iron of Destiny 2, known as the Ariana's Vow? I have taken 4 builds from our 7-hour live stream last Tuesday and 1 from my Patreon to find some fun in this ghost town desert of a content drought. I will rate each build's offense, defense, versatility, survivability, speed, and consistency, and then give them a grade for flavor and viability. At the end of today's video, as a bit of a special treat from our Destiny channel in our Discord, I will show you how to transmog your hunter to look like a cowboy, so stick around for that. First up, we have Relic, who had a quite lengthy build, but the full details of the build I won't bother you with. But in essence, we want to pretend we bought a Scuff gaming controller for Christmas and then got left on red by the support team when your ADS button broke. And nothing says, I don't touch grass like a bow swap build. Not any bias from me at all there, but I do get a certain sick, twisted level of satisfaction out of builds like these. It's a guilty pleasure of mine to know that when my match is over, someone on the enemy team is having an existential crisis, and maybe a broken controller of their own. But we have a major problem with this build. This creator is a PC player and expected the aiming mechanics of a mouse and keyboard, but unfortunately, hip firing on controller without the right setup is quite challenging unless you're like Last Word or DMT due to a severe lack in aim assist. So unfortunately, the rapid fire smaller brother iron will be the only weapon we correctly yeehaw from the hip as God intended, while we struggle to make an indecisive bow shot prime up our lucky pants quick swap into that Last Word. Overall, the build felt strong enough to keep up with the Olympics level of competition that my end of season elo has unwillingly thrusted me into, but I can't help but feel this is just a tad too similar to our cowboy build we created last episode. Don't worry, I'll leave a link to the video in the description or probably in the pinned comments. On top of this, Solar Hunter is the slowest of the 4 classes, so we are forced to play at range, which the Last Word doesn't have much of, at least not since the nerfs. Still, a very fun build if you've never tried bow swap before. Offense 4, defense 7, versatility 5, survivability 6, healing grenades go hard, speed 4, consistency 5, flavor A, viability B-. Now, it's time to bring out the big guns. I have sort of fallen in love with Ariana's from the last few sessions of play, with our live stream specifically. It's a consistent 100 damage or so, and it's a great tool for starting or finishing damage combos, and this combo absolutely caught my interest. Ever since the nerf to fusion grenade damage way back with Solar 3.0, my dreams of being a spicy tangerine wielding supervillain were all but crushed. But this build has sparked a sort of redemption arc. The loop of destruction is quite similar to the attack helicopter cosplay everyone keeps talking about. Fire your Arianas and immediately follow it with a fistful of spicy ramen using the Ashen Wake and the aforementioned fusion grenade, and then you have successfully acquainted your enemy with what 4th degree burns smell like. If you tack on the aspect Roaring Flames, you can make follow-up kills even easier as all ability kills increase ability damage, which the Ashen Wake will make sure is always ready thanks to the grenade regen on kills. An excellent choice by the build creator is to include some mid to close range tools for our long range Tom Brady napalm strike setup in the form of an SMG. This build's greatest weakness is that it requires a sort of baton pass between hit scan and projectile weaponry. If you aren't already comfortable following with the Ashen Wake instant detonation grenades, it may be a bit frustrating as an experience, as 1 missed grenades means you have to wait to restart your fireball flinging forest fire starter. Even without your grenade, you can either at least use your throwing hammer or just, use the Arianas as Bungie originally intended to put bullets in skulls from a safe distance. A nice benefit as well is all grenade kills will also grant you a sunspot for even more sticking power. Offense 7, defense 6, versatility 7, survivability 6, speed 4, consistency 6, flavor A+, viability B+. Next up is the closest thing you will get to playing a Necromancer Summoner in Destiny 2. When you think of PvP exotics, I'm willing to bet your subscription that the Aeon exotics is probably one of the last that come to mind, but with a Secta Vigor, these gauntlets have some hidden power that can be difficult to really appreciate. With Secta Vigor, anytime a teammate dies anywhere on the map, you generate class ability energy, and it's a pretty good portion. Combine this with everyone's favorite great flavored ankle biter, the child of the old gods, and suddenly you have turned your friends' 1v1 matches with the respawn button into fuel to aggressively annoy your enemies. But why the Vigilance Wing? Vigi-Wing is, of course, the funny 5-burst pulse rifle, but it still does have traits that grant benefits when, you guessed it, nearby allies die. These benefits come in the form of a free speed and healing bump that can make you standing your ground even easier. But why the Coriolis Force, you ask? Well, someone in chat thought it'd be funny, but, you know, much to my surprise, it actually turned out this thing is very serviceable. In fact, to all my PvE players out there, this weird flat-firing fusion rifle might be the best non-exotic DPS option for fusions. It's weird. It's definitely not my preferred option, but it made it work. I was actually quite pleasantly surprised. Overall, the build played well, and my level of annoyance towards my enemies was delightfully high. Unfortunately, the build immediately drops off when you take this into modes where friendly death is less frequent and more punishing, but for a 6v6 build, it's quite good. I can't stress how much I love the flavor of playing a sorta like summoner. It's something I have always wanted to see from the franchise. Heck, maybe we'll get it from Strand, but for now, offense 6, defense 9, versatility 7, survivability 7, speed 6, consistency 8, flavor, we're going to go ahead and drop it the S tier. This is not the first time we've seen a version of this build, by the way, but having this void flavored is quite fun, and viability A. It's definitely not the best, of course, definitely not with that Coriolis Force, but it's definitely not the worst. Why not try for something extremely consistent rather than extremely flashy for our next build? Double primary in PvP is an interesting thing. Primaries have continued to get better, whether it be from direct buffs or indirect buffs through the nerfs to special ammo. Of the primaries, none are more contentious right now than the recently buffed sidearms. I remember being so confused when reading about the sidearm buffs because, at least here on console, they were always a solid choice. It really does feel like sometimes Bungie is just spinning a wheel of what the next meta would be. Anyway, this build tries to maintain a radiant charge as long and as frequently as it can, while occasionally unlocking the god-shattering star known as the Chancla Knife. If you haven't tried the Arthritis Embrace at least once in the Crucible, you are likely depressed, because nothing spawns more serotonin in my brain parts than throwing a weighted knife and having it get a kill that night after I've gone to bed. For our weapons, we aren't even using an exotic, just a Staccato 180 Solar Scout with an incandescent roll, and the Iron Banner sidearm with a max range roll. If you are a clever hunter, you will know you can 3-tap with your Staccato with a Radiant buff, and you will, as is good and right, pop that Radiant buff anytime you're getting ready to practice your 3-4 time signature drumming skills on the skulls of your foes. I really liked how this played out, but I can't help but feel like it's just a bit bland. It felt like the white bread with mayo choice of builds, but I can't argue with the results. I will have to give this one a rather low flavor stats despite my love of the Arthritis Embrace, but I don't want to deter you from giving this a whirl if you're looking to try something safe and reliable to fall back on. Offense 5, defense 5, versatility 9, survivability 5, speed 5, consistency 10, flavor C, viability S. I think this is the first 10 I've ever given any stat. Anyway, let's talk about the Fighting Lion. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Fighting Lion, but $20 is $20, you feel me? But jokes aside, I have a rather strong build I've been using with this confusingly popular primary ammo grenade launcher. I will, again, pin the video in the comments for now, but here is what you need to know. Sentinel Titan shotgun the Lion, of course, and either a rally barricade with the Eon safes, or my latest version of this build with the sight and ramparts. I like this build because it plays contrary to the popular jive fast and don't touch grass meta that often gets pushed. This build plays like a tank. You are slow, hard to kill, but you take up space well. Of course, the hardest thing is mastering the art of the Fighting Lion. My best advice to new players who've never touched this thing before is A, remember you have infinite ammo, so, you know, spam. B, it takes time for the shot to reach the target, so be careful of getting insta-killed. And C, that you can start a reload while holding the detonation trigger on the Lion to prime up your next shot. If you like the Lion, you'll probably like this build. Offense 4, defense 9, versatility 6, survivability 7, speed 3, consistency 5, flavor S, viability B. Yeah, I know it's kind of my own build, but you know, gotta mix it up every now and then. And finally, the Hunter Drip. On screen now is how to space cowboy or hunter. The neat thing is it's a good portion of these are non-legendary ornaments, so you probably have them. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe if you want more videos like these. Bless your faces, and deuces.